All right. Welcome to Jeremiah Creek with Dave Haynes. Bull Garlington, please hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell to get all your, every time we upload something. Then
I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
We're getting a few views on our videos. So one of the things we should have discussed probably beforehand, I was thinking that maybe we should end at 45 minutes instead of an hour. It seems like
That's fine with me.
we're not getting anywhere. People are not staying the whole hour, but we are getting some views. So if you're viewing
that's
it,
astonishing.
yeah. I did not plan to talk about anything except the weather. You know what? We've had a lot of snow and ice down here. It's just starting to melt now. And
We're supposed to talk about old man stuff, so the weather is exactly right.
yeah, and I've had an interesting thing that I've never had to deal with before. We have a propane. We have a tank, that has to be filled. And
Yeah.
Normally it gets filled in the end of February and then August. And, it's been so cold here and we've had the heat on. So we went to check the propane and the propane was really low. So I called. They have the propane filled. And they said, yeah, we actually monitor your propane tank. We knew you were low. We tried to get out there, and we couldn't get up your driveway. Your driveway has to be clear. And I'm like,
Meaning the ice, right?
yeah. I'm like, well, okay. I had two problems. I said, couldn't you have called and let us know if you tried to get out here and couldn't get up the thing? But that's neither here nor there. The second thing was like I don't understand that. I've been driving in and out of it. It's not. It's not full of snow or anything. It's just there's snow on it, but it's not like really icy or anything. And they said, yeah, it's icy. Our drivers are we're having a hard time backing up, and we have hazmat. We can't take a chance, so it's got to be cleared. I'm like, all right, damn.
So what did you do? Are you cold?
I go out with a shovel and salt, and it's what it really is the bottom of my driveway. If you remember, the bottom of my driveway, the last 10, 15 feet of my driveway has bushes on either side. And it's also very steep at the bottom. So what happens is anytime there's any sun, the sun doesn't get to the bottom of the driveway. What's been happening is we've been getting above 32 degrees. We've been getting up to like 35, 36, like that. And so what'll happen is that the top of the driveway where the sun hits will kind of melt and then flow down to the bottom of the driveway where the sun doesn't hit, and then at night it freezes. And they came in the morning, or the last time they came was at right around noon. So it's slippery, and we tried 2 times to get them up. But then I went down, I called them, I said, listen, I cleared all the ice, I salted it all real good, it should be fine. And so Saturday we watched on the camera. We didn't realize that they had got there because once again they didn't call us. Me and Annie were going out, and 10 minutes before we left, the gas truck came. And had I known, I would have been able to do something about it. But we watched on the camera, and so we realized that we had another little problem. When the hurricane hit in November, October, something like that, we got a hurricane, remember? Hurricane Helene.
Yeah.
The creek across the street from my house, all the water brought down all the dirt off the mountain and filled up the creek across the street from my house.
Right.
So last month, the county came and they cleared out the creek. But underneath the road, just past the bottom of my driveway, there is a tunnel, and the water crosses the road underneath, so that it goes on the side.
Culvert.
It goes on the side of the pasture.
Culvert.
So cows. The what? A culvert. Yeah. There's a culvert under the road. So the culvert got stopped up, and this guy he was clearing out the creek and trying to clear out the culvert, and tore up part of the street. And so when the gas truck came in, they were facing the wrong way and couldn't. It was a new driver. He couldn't figure out how to turn and back up my driveway. And
You need some Kentucky solutions for Kentucky problems. Oh wait, Tennessee. Sorry.
yeah. Well, I went down. We went down
Why
to.
don't they use mules?
Well, I went down to talk to the manager at Premium, and I'm like, listen, they got to go down the road to where the logging trucks turn around, and then come and back in the other way. And so yesterday they finally delivered gas. We were down to 5% of our tank,
Ooh.
so we were only a couple days away from running out of gas.
What would happen if you ran out of gas?
We wouldn't have any fireplaces, so there wouldn't be any heat on the first floor. We wouldn't have what do you call it?
Couldn't cook.
We couldn't cook.
Wouldn't have any hot water.
No, the hot water heat's it's electric. So
You have that on-demand stuff?
no, but I was looking at that when I was over when I was down there. We didn't get that. I kind of regret it.
My sister has that. Pretty awesome.
Well, what they do say, like when we got our water heater installed, because we needed a new water heater when we moved in, we looked into it, and it said that it doesn't, when it gets cold, it doesn't heat the water up very well. And
I mean,
so we decided
I
not
don't
to
know.
do it.
I've never used them for very long, so
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard a lot of good things. I kind of regret not doing that. So I'm gonna
what other old man things can we talk about? I've been walking with a cane a lot lately.
Why? Just because you're going to Oxford now?
Yeah, that's the only reason. It just it completes my look, you know. Now, I slid in the snow a couple of weeks ago, and it's not getting better. My wife's been teasing me and sort of suggesting that I may need to get hip surgery, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
Why? Your hips
No
hurt?
way, man.
It's an easy
Yeah, it's
operation.
my hip that hurts. Dude, there's one problem with it. Okay, there's one problem. When they bring you back in the room and you're awake, they put your leg back where it goes. They say, for one split second, this will be the worst pain you've ever felt. And it's just one split second. I know that. I can't do it.
Yeah, but if you get your hip replaced, then you reduce your chances of getting a broken hip. And we're getting to the age where getting a broken hip is a death sentence. Have you ever heard it? A lot of old people, they fall down, they break their hip, they're dead within a couple weeks.
Yeah. You know what? I've had a good life, Dave. And
and you would rather trade that for 1 second of pain.
At least I won't be in pain for one minor second. So, which I don't think I could handle.
It might lead to a lot of other pain later, though.
Did I talk about New York yet?
No. Yeah, so we both took trips. Let's talk about the trips. Talk about New York.
I got hired to go to New York to give a lecture, and it was all really cool. It's they got me a really nice hotel, like walking distance from the venue, and
did they send a fruit basket?
No. There was a big steak dinner the night before, and the day of I was treated very nicely. They had a green room. It was pretty professional. And then I had a lot of time to myself, and I spent some time hanging out with people and talking and discussing the subjects we talked about. But then I was pretty much on my own until my flight was Sunday at 8:15 p.m. from LaGuardia, right? And so I'm in New York, and the weather's not terrible. It was kind of cold and snowy, but whatever.
So what did you go and do while you were in New York? What does Bull Garlington do alone in the big city?
I walked really fast through the Strand bookstore, and then took an Uber back to my hotel to go to the bathroom, and then I went to the airport.
That's it, huh? Wait, what day did you get there?
I got there Friday night.
So you had all day Saturday?
I got there Friday afternoon. No, Saturday was the presentation, and that went up through the evening, and there was a cocktail hour, and that was the end of everything. Friday there was a dinner. So Sunday was the only free day I had, and I'd planned to go to Sardi's, and that fell through because it turns out they're closed on Sundays. And then a guy said, you should go to the bar.
I'm surprised nobody's protesting Sardi's being closed on Sunday because of God, like they do Chick-fil-A.
I think they protest Chick-fil-A because they support anti-LGBTQ.
No. Look, it's because they close on Sunday because of God.
Yeah, well, I mean, they are kind of a Christian forward organization, but that's their right to close on Sundays.
it just amazes me that even though they close on Sunday, the only reason they protest is because they say we close on Sunday because of God, whereas every other business that closes on Sunday and doesn't say why, they don't get protested. So that just amuses me all the time. And whenever I hear of
God
a
froze you
business that's closed on
in a weird
Sunday,
way.
I always think of Chick-fil-A.
Well, Sardis is I don't know why they're closed on Sundays, but I was disappointed. But some guy goes, "You should go to the Oyster Bar in Union Station." And I remembered I'd read about this Oyster Bar, and
I've heard of that.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's like legendary, and it was closed too.
Wow.
And I was like, "Damn it!" So then I'm like, "All right, well, I was going to do what you said: go to Carnegie and go to the bookstore and everything." And I went to the bookstore, and I couldn't. I don't know. I started to get antsy because I had to go to the bathroom.
Well, why didn't you just go to the bathroom at the bookstore?
In New York. If they don't let you. You know, and so I was like, I can't even shop. I can't think clearly. And so I had to Uber back to my hotel. And then I told the Uber driver, I was like, "Hey man, do you want to just take me right to the airport?" Because I'd called Colleen and had her change my flight, right? And he goes, "Yeah, sure." And then I'll go, "Oh, you know what? I can't do it." He didn't say anything. So I went in and I did my thing and I grabbed my bag and everything. When I was done, I called an Uber and I walked out. Sorry, that was a taxi driver, not an Uber driver. I walked out and the taxi driver's right there. And I walk out with the international symbol of man looking at phone, looking for his Uber car, you know? And the guy looks at me and goes, "You called an Uber?" And I was like, "Oh my God, why are you still here?" Because he said he wanted to go to the airport. I was like, "Yeah, but then I said I'm not going." He's like, "Ah." So I gave him some cash. I said, "I'm sorry, man. I screwed up." But he was really nice about it. He could have just punched me in the face and he would have been within his rights, you know?
Well,
so,
it's your right to decide. It's your right to decide.
It is, but I should inform him though, you know, and I didn't do a good job of that. So I had a pretty, I did not enjoy New York. And that's like the third time I've been to New York. I've never liked it. I just don't like that city. I walked around on Sunday. I walked from my hotel to a barbershop to get a hot shave, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what I like. I like a hot shave. And I stopped at a coffee shop that was like a non-brand coffee shop. It was pretty cool, you know, and I had a cortada and a banana. And then I walked several blocks to this barbershop. And I was just like, this sucks. And I was in Manhattan in like the Flatiron district, right? This is the place where they shoot TV shows and stuff. And I was like, this sucks. I don't like any of it. It's a bunch of crazy people. There's trash everywhere.
Oh yeah. I was always I've only been in New York a couple times, but I was amazed by the amount of trash everywhere. And because there's no alleys, we're used to alleys because of the Chicago fire. And
well, also we have bins.
Yeah.
You know, they don't even have bins. They just get bags out on the sidewalk. It's fucking ridiculous. And there's dog pee every fucking where, and people pee every fucking where. And I you know, on Saturday night on the way back to my hotel, it was really late. I got lost. God, I was a block away from the place, Dave. A block away from it, and I got lost on the way there, and I got lost on the way back twice. I don't know what's wrong with me, man. You can almost see the front of my hotel from this place, and I still got lost. So I stopped at one of those trucks, like a food truck, like a cart, you know. And so I said, "I'm going to get a gyro," you know. And a guy walks up to me, and he's just Mr. Homeless 2025 right there. And he goes, "Hey man, buy me a hot dog." I'm like, "Sure thing, no problem." So I said, "Give this guy a hot dog," you know, and the homeless guy is like, starts telling the guy what he wants on his hot dog. And I thought to myself, I think that's a bit presumptuous. Hey, I should be able to tell you what's on your fucking hot dog. But so I got him a Gatorade and a hot dog, and me a gyro and a Gatorade. It was $31 fucking dollars.
Yeah.
$31, and I tipped the dude, man. And it was not a good gyro. It wasn't. He didn't have like the gyro thing. It didn't occur to me. He didn't have the big gyro thing. He had, I don't know, like microwave something. It was just. I'm never going back to New York. I got invited to a bunch more things because my presentation was really good. I am going to D.C. to talk to some international business thing, but I'm never going back to New York. I don't care what they do. Unless I'm on a TV show, I'm not going to fucking go, and I'll never be on a TV show. So fuck that.
Wow, that sounds like you didn't have a good
It's
time.
disappointing. It's
You know,
disappointing, right? Because it's like
you are
the
not
big.
going to. I don't understand sometimes when you travel. You are the only way somebody from a big city is going to enjoy New York is if you do the touristy stuff, and
No,
you don't. You just you don't.
no. Well, okay. The things I like bookstores, I like stationery stores, and I like really, really local shit. Right? I want a local dive bar. I want to go hang out at a local dive bar. I want to go to a local oyster bar. I'm not really interested in the Empire State Building and stuff like that. It just doesn't really. I did want to go to Sardi's.
Yeah.
That's classic New York stuff.
But you also
Also,
I like we went walking around the village when we were there, and we went to a comedy club, one of those little dive bar comedy clubs at in the village, and that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing stuff like that, going to little theaters or something like that. But
yeah, I probably would have had fun if I had done that. But the problem is that I've got for some reason when I land in New York, my imagination shuts down, man.
yeah.
And I had nearly a year to plan for this, Dave. All right.
One of the things we did too, we took the train out to Coney Island, even though it was the middle of winter when we went. But still, I got to see Coney Island.
Yeah, I should have done that.
There was a great.
I just
There was a great movie. Sorry, it just reminded me. Coney Island in the middle of winter. There was a great movie with some young actor, and but now he's a famous young. Who the hell was this? I can't remember. But it started off with them in high school, him and his two friends, and then they're in their mid to late 20s, and two of the friends realized they hadn't seen the third one in a while. Oh no, they went to a funeral, and they hadn't seen their third friend in years, and they were talking to his sister at a funeral and asked whatever happened. She goes, I don't know. He took off. He's living on the street somewhere. He's homeless. And so they went on a odyssey to Coney Island to find him, and it was Coney Island in the winter. And so they were, and we were watching this movie, going, "Yeah, that's exactly how it looked when we were there." It was just unbelievable. And so now I wish I could remember that movie.
I don't when I travel by myself, I have a stupid agenda, and I kind of want to find somewhere to just hang out and sit and drink coffee and read a book and kind of take it in. I don't really want to. I don't want to go do stuff. Does that make any sense? I don't want to go do stuff. I just want to sit there and be in the city that I'm visiting, and then go home. I don't want to go do stuff.
I don't know. I think if you went with your wife, because she plans everything to
Oh,
the
that's
last minute.
when I said when I'm alone.
Yeah.
When I'm alone.
I'm just saying,
I
I
go
think
to
you would
LA.
enjoy New York if you went with your wife, because she would plan everything down to the last minute. I mean,
Absolutely.
They have one of those like 606 trails where they turned a train platform into a park that's supposed to be really beautiful, just like in Chicago. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
whenever Colleen and I a long time ago, she had a business trip in New Orleans, and she was like, "All right, like come with me," and I'm like hell yeah.
really?
And
really?
we
You
dropped
want
the
me to
kids
come with
off,
you, dear?
and we to New Orleans, and she said, "I'm planning everything." I said, "Listen, man, I'm not a tourist. I'm a traveler. I like to explore and find things." She's like, "Sure, okay. How about this? You've got Monday and Tuesday. I'm so busy on those days. Those are your days to go plan and explore."
Do your stupid exploring.
I'm like, "Yeah." I'm going to see so much stuff. And she goes, "The rest of the days I've got planned out." I'm like, "Cool. They're going to be so boring." The 2 days that I had to myself, one day I drove all the way out to Poches. It was 78 miles each way. I went there, I bought a bag of Cracklins and a drink, and I drove back. All right. It was 3 hours. Okay. 3 hours of my day. And then I was wiped out. And then I walked around trying to figure out something to do. Ended up going back to the hotel and having a nap. And then she got out of her conference. Second day, not any better. When she had her thing, she had stuff planned out, but she also had like alternatives planned out. So if she said, "Now we're going to go do this," and I went, she would look at her alternative and go, well, what do you think about this? And like, oh, hell yeah. It was amazing. She is and I was so mad that it worked out really well, but I had an incredible time.
Did you tell her
So
that,
I give in.
or did you just say I had more fun on my 2 days?
No, she knew. She didn't have to ask about me having fun. She knew I had a shitty time, and so I'm not a good traveler by myself, which my plans are after this Oxford thing. I was planning to go on one of those Caminos, and I've been thinking lately with my legs hurting and everything. I'm like, and my crappy time at New York, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't do it. maybe it would be a terrible idea. What if I get on this Camino, which is supposed to be the super spiritual trip? It's 180 kilometers behind in the country in France and Spain and England. What if I get that and I'm like 25 kilometers into it and I'm like, this is fucking boring.
Yeah, this is hard.
Yeah, it's hard and it's boring and I'm uncomfortable and no one will talk to me and I can't speak Italian and this sucks. I want to go home. There's no Ubers. I want to go home. Yeah, what if that's what happens? That would be so disappointing. And I guarantee you that's what's going to fucking happen.
All right, well, let me tell you about my trip in which I had much more fun than you, apparently.
Apparently. It's not a high bar, dude.
My sister bought a place in the Villages, so we went down to the Villages. Have you ever heard of this place?
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And
yep.
So we drove down. Now, it was, we really, weather-wise, for the most part, we really lucked out because we left just as a cold snap was hitting here, and we went down there and spent a couple days, and we left there just as the cold snap was getting there, and right before they had a blizzard in Florida or whatever it was.
Texas. Yeah, weird, right?
We left the night before. Well, the day before.
Wow.
And but first of all, let me tell you, the Villages is really cool. I think one of these days when we go down and visit, you should come with.
I have family that live in the Village.
They do this lifestyle visit. We didn't do that this time. We stayed at a hotel, but they do these lifestyle visits where you basically rent one of their houses for $100 a day, and you get access to everything. And but I was really impressed with the way they set it up. I knew my sister liked it. She'd been down there, and I was like, I don't know.
And it's not like she's not a retirement age.
Well, she is. She's retired now, but it's not really a retirement village. It's not like, see, and that's what I pictured. I pictured kind of a retirement village, and this place isn't really. It's more like a golf. It's more like a gated community golf course style thing. And you don't have to be old to live there, but you have to be an adult to live there. They don't allow anybody under 19 to stay more than 30 days. So like, your grandkids can visit, but they can't live with you. And but so it's all adults. You don't have to deal with a bunch of teenagers roaming the streets in packs and doing crazy shit. But it's the way it's designed was really cool because there's a bunch of different areas, and they're all designed as villages with village squares. And at each village square, they have a bunch of shops. They got a bunch of bars, restaurants, and a stage, and they have entertainment every night at every stage. So, if you want to listen to country music, you can go to the country area. If you want to listen to classic rock, you go to a different stage, and you can have drinks there.
Is it like a theme park? Is there a pirate section?
No. It was like there was a Western section, and the Western section was based.
You're talking about the music, right?
The what? What?
You're saying the music? That's the music that it was, or is that like the style of the village?
It was the style of the village. Well, it was. We went to two. Really, we went to the one we stayed in was sort of like a Western theme, a thing like a country music. They played country music on the stage. The stage, there was a plaque on the stage that we read that it was originally a building that was built on this land back in the 1800s or whatever. It was like a cattle ranch or something like that. And that was the Western themed one, and then we went to one where they had a lake. They had built a man-made lake, and it was a Jimmy Buffett style place, where all the buildings look like Caribbean buildings, and they have a little. You can rent a boat, and the it was a nice little seaside area kind of a thing, and they all drive around in golf carts, and the golf carts share the streets with the cars, which was interesting and a little weird sometimes, and but it was really cool. I actually was really impressed. Now, one thing, the houses were way too close together for me. So it's not like I would ever live there, but I am looking forward to visiting my sister there.
You're from Chicago. Their houses practically touch each other.
Yeah, that's why I moved to, the Smoky Mountains, where my houses don't practically touch each other. The reason I moved here was because of that. So we wouldn't want to go to. But it was nice, and they had nice neighbors and everything, and I didn't see any loofahs, so I didn't, I didn't see any of the swinging.
Any what?
Well, apparently, if you hang a specific color loofah from your golf cart, it means you're a swinger, and they have different colors for different types of swingers.
Oh my God!
I saw. I don't know if it's true. I saw it online, and somebody sent it to me, and I thought it was really funny when I said on.
It doesn't matter if it's. We're going to repeat it for the rest of our life. It
definitely.
Doesn't matter if it's true or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. My cousin that lives there isn't even anywhere near retirement age. She's not retired. Her husband is like an amateur race car driver. That's how he makes his living. And I forget what she does. Maybe she's in marketing or something. And they just like the idea of it's like an all-inclusive vacation, but you live there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and they like that.
You can go play golf if you can get a tee time. You just call up and get a tee time, and it's free. Like, we didn't play golf, and her friends who so they were also retired police officers that moved down there, who are big golfers. They were telling us it was the only nice day because they knew the weather was turning bad, so that's why there was no golf available. All the tee times were taken. So we stayed down there for a couple of days and really enjoyed it. Like I said, I wouldn't want to live there, but it was a great place to visit. And if you're the type of person that you want to have, if you want to go sit in a coffee house and listen to music and have everybody roam by you, and basically you don't have to go looking for culture; it comes right to you. You would like this place because you can go sit there and drink coffee and watch all the people and listen to the music, and it's like every night. It's like sitting down on Michigan Avenue every night.
No. I would hate the whole thing.
Without the drug dealers and the gangbangs.
Yeah.
But the other thing, okay, so my plan, my original plan was to leave Florida and drive up the East Coast, and I wanted to go to Kitty Hawk.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and then we realized pretty quick that wouldn't work out because it would have taken us twice as long, which means we would have had long drives each day, and Annie had to get back for work, and she didn't want to take her computer. She didn't want to do any work on the road. So then I said, okay, well, we'll go up to Hilton Head. We'll stop at Hilton Head and stay at a hotel on the beach. In the middle of winter, there wouldn't be any problem getting a hotel room. And Hilton Head is halfway. It's about an hour out of the way. So it would have been an extra half an hour one day, an extra half an hour the other day. And we would just head back like that. We'd drive 5 hours one day and 5 hours the next day. But then when the weather reports started getting so bad, we were like, I don't know. If they're off on these times, we're going to end up in Hilton Head on an island in the middle of a snowstorm.
And it snowed.
And it did snow.
Yeah. My friend was there and sent me pictures of it.
It snowed, but the weather people, give them credit, were exactly right. We would have been fine. We would have driven to Hilton Head, and by the time we would check out time and figure an hour whatever to leave the area, it didn't start snowing until later in the afternoon. So we would have been fine, but we didn't want to take that chance. So we drove to Asheville and stayed at a really nice hotel in Asheville.
I've always wanted to go. I've never been to Asheville.
Oh, it's beautiful. The places we went to are beautiful, but on the way home we saw a lot of the destruction is still getting cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Still getting cleaned up. A lot of,
Yeah.
it's been such a rough winter. We were just talking about this today with some of the guys out at the VFW. It's been one thing after another from here since the storm. It's been the storm, and then we had 3 solid weeks of rain, light rain, but it's like you're outside uncomfortable. I couldn't get my stuff cleaned up because I'm retired. I'll wait till it dries out. I don't give a shit. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
and then in a minute the rain stopped, the temperature dropped, and we got all kinds of snow. And it's been the snowiest winter in years up here, down here. So
Damn. It's
it's
like you didn't even move.
and then every time it melts, like it would melt for a couple days, and the driveway would get iced over, and then we get another couple inches of snow, and then so we're supposed to get 50s all weekend. So I'm looking forward.
That's
to
what
that.
it is here.
Yeah.
50 degrees, so everything melted, which means if you're parked at the curb,
Take
sometime tonight your car could freeze to the curb.
Why is it dropping again?
I don't know. It always does that. That used to happen to me a lot at the other house. Was because everyone would shovel their snow and everything, and then the temperatures would go up and the snow would melt, and then it would go down, and my car would freeze to the curb.
When I was driving around at night, when I was a policeman, I used to love. There was those days where either there's a lot of snow melting really fast, or it rains during the day. So the sun comes up, it gets up to 45, 50 degrees, and it starts raining, and then the temperature drops at night. And what you'd have is you would have these people who park on busy streets, and then all the cars going by would splash the car, and as the temperature dropped, the ice forms, and you get these cars in cocoons of ice on the city streets.
Yeah,
I always wish
that was a real eye opener for me in terms of what winter's really like in Chicago. Was the first time my car iced over, and I couldn't go to work because my car was encased in ice, and I just was like, I don't even know how to talk about this. It was like a half inch of ice, and I had to like gently hammer the ice off my car so I could open it. And I was like, should I use a hairdryer? And my wife was like, no, you call him to work. You're not going anywhere. And this is before Ubers and everything. And my boss is like, yeah, you're not the only one, man. And but I was baffled, man. The cold has baffled me several times in the 26 years I've lived here. The first time it happened was when I was working at Barnes and Noble, and we had to park way at the edges of the parking lot so that customers could park close, right? And it was a mall, so it was an enormous parking lot, really, 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 like a good quarter of a mile from one end to the other, and then at least a mile and a half wide. And so I was way out at the edge, and I closed. So I lock up the store, which means you lock it, and then you toss the key through the hole. You can't go back in, all right? and so I'm walking to my car, and I've got fairly adequate clothing by now, but I start patting my jacket, and I'm like, oh, I don't have my keys, and I can't find my keys, and I get to my car, and by the time I get there, I'm so cold because it was like 2 degrees. I get in my car, I'm so cold that I'm beginning to like, I started getting scared, and then I turned back and looked at the mall and realized there's nowhere for me to go, and there's no gas station around here. Everything in the mall is closed. There's no public telephones. I didn't have a cell phone. No one lives around here. There's just a graveyard and the mall and nothing. I'm like, I am going to die in this freaking parking lot.
I should just walk over to the graveyard and lay down.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. And I actually, I freaked out, and I did a deep search of my jacket, and turns out they had slipped through a hole in my pocket into another pocket, and I found my keys, and I was okay. But there was a moment there where I was seriously I was like, how do people make it? How do people make it in weather like this?
Yeah. Well, I remember one time. This is even worse. We had a blizzard. It was just a few years ago. Real heavy snow. All the streets are blocked. Nobody can move. Nobody can get around. And I didn't think too much about it. I grew up in Chicago, and I remember growing up and always having to deal with the snow. And so I threw on my heavy coat and my boots, and I just slogged through the snow until I made it to the busy street. And they clear the busy streets and the buses are running. So I took a bus, got on the train, went down and went to work. And, it's just I didn't have my car, but there's other ways to get around Chicago without a car. So I get to work and everybody's calling in. Only 2 of us made it in. And,
oh my God.
And we get the next day, everybody gets there, and my boss is just like, we're having our morning meeting, and the boss is like, this is ridiculous. You guys are police officers. You got to come to work. You can't just take a day off because there's snow. And then people are like, well, the snow was so deep.
I think they're a little more resourceful.
We couldn't move around. And then he said the worst thing that somebody could say about you. He said, you could make it in. Dave made it in. If Dave can make it in, and whoever the other guy was. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you saying that shit for? Now it's just
There's
gonna make
several reasons.
It's gonna make me next time. I ain't coming in next time if you're gonna throw me out front like that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think twice about it because when I was when I was a kid, that's what we did. We just walked to the train and got on a train and went to work or went to whatever, go hang out with your friends. That's what I used to love when they closed.
When I was a kid, I got on the train and went to work.
When I met a kid like in my 20s. Now kids in their 20s are kids.
Okay.
But the other thing was, I remember when they canceled school, and everybody was so happy because the snow was so bad they couldn't do school. So we would all show up in the school courtyard, and have snowball fights. It's like now I grew up and I'm like, why are they closing the school if all the kids are just going to show up at the school anyway? But that's an old man thing right there. These kids, in my day, we would go to school on snow days.
Yeah, my wife did a thing at work recently where I forget what, some kind of meeting or something like that, and they have to, every person has to like introduce himself and say some stuff. And there had been a lot of rumbling in the company about intergenerational communication gaps.
Yeah.
And she did her whole thing like in Gen Z speak, and everyone is pretty impressed by that. She's in Minnesota right now. She's in St. Paul at a leadership conference or something like that.
Oh, it must be cold there. What the hell kind of company?
No, it's exactly like it is in Chicago.
What kind of company would set up a leadership in the middle of January in Minnesota?
Well, that's where their headquarters are at.
Oh.
So everyone goes, and since they're from Minnesota, they're like, what code? It's no good code.
It's only about 10 degrees. That's warm.
Yeah.
All right, so what else we got?
What old man stuff can we talk about? Dry skin? Can we talk about dry skin? Is that too weird?
Do you like my suspenders?
Shaving? Oh, I do. But here's my new old man thing. I've gone to old man style shaving now, and I went and I bought like an actual old fashioned safety razor, not a straight razor, but a safety razor. And I got the brush and the soap and everything, and I don't know what took me so long to start using a safety razor. It is so much better than disposable razors.
Yeah, but
it's a million times better.
Until you get Parkinson's, then it's deadly. Try shave.
How did he die? Shaving?
I don't know what made me think of this, but my wife trimmed my mustache one time.
That is elite.
Huh? That's
a segue, man.
It was one time, and that was it, because she cut my lip, and well. No.
Oh.
But anyway,
how much of it was on purpose? Do you think?
I don't know, but I was going to talk about my suspenders. So it's funny. The only time I ever wore suspenders was like with a suit or something like that for years.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, who's aging, is his belts, his waistline is non-existent basically, and So he's constantly pulling up his pants, and I'm like, Dad, why don't you wear suspenders? I don't. I like wearing my shirt out. I said, well, they make suspenders now. You have to wear a t-shirt. You put it over your t-shirt. You can wear, a shirt over it. I don't know. So I bought him suspenders, and to prove to him that they're okay, I would wear suspenders when we go play golf or something like that. And I got to tell you, it's so comfortable. It's so comfortable to wear suspenders. I wear them probably half the time now. I just love.
I'll never go back. I'll never go back. I started wearing suspenders way back when I gained a lot of weight and I was really heavy. And belts are like, we quit.
Yeah.
The belts are like, we can't. This is too much for us. You need to call it. You need to outsource. And so I wore suspenders, and I was like, what took me so long to get the suspenders? Like, holy crap! My pants are always at exactly the right place. They never slip down. So,
what's funny is there's a saying that sometimes some people say about I'm a belt and suspenders kind of guy, and basically it means you want to make absolutely sure. So, in the sense that if you were going to make absolutely sure about your pants, you would wear both belt and suspenders. Then you're
yeah.
So there's a phrase that people use to he's a belt and suspenders kind of guy. He really tries to make sure nothing goes wrong. And me and Annie were watching a documentary about this farm in Virginia that does all natural farming. It's called Polyface Farm, and it was really interesting. It was on the Angel Network, which, by the way, is a really kind of a cool network if you want to check it out. And the guy was wearing belts and a belt and a suspenders, or suspenders and a belt. And it was the first time I ever actually saw somebody wearing both suspenders and a belt. I mean, I've heard that phrase forever.
Why would you do that? I don't understand why anybody would do that. I mean, are they really that afraid their pants are going to fall down? Like, what if one of my suspenders breaks? What will I do then?
And I even looked to see if they were the kind of suspenders that you like hang things from, or like a tool belt suspenders. No, they were just regular suspenders, and it was a regular belt. So
the only time suspenders are a problem is every once in a while when you go through TSA, they make you take them off, and I'm like, what these do, right? The guy's like, yeah, we know. I'm like, so if I take them off, he goes, just hold your pants with one hand. And I'm like, then how do I do this? This time, though, the other day when I went to New York, I was like, I pulled up my thing, and he goes, you don't even have to, just tell us you got suspenders. Like, he didn't want to see it. He's like, no. Like, I was impressive.
It's they've kind of eased up on the airport stuff.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, ever since I took that knife through freaking TSA, I've been a little suspicious of them, because I feel like maybe they're not as attentive as they should be. And that's fish camp's fault. That was the last time I had it was when I went to fish camp, and I'd never emptied I'd never taken it out. I forgot it was there. So,
well, you should always
anyway, that's all my weapons. I agree. I agree. We were talking about weapons. Me and somebody else were talking about weapons the other day, and they were talking about, in the blah apocalypse, like what kind of gun they're going to carry. And I'm like, I'm not a weapons guy. I wouldn't carry a gun, but I'll carry a hammer, because a hammer looks kind of innocuous. You just hang it from your tool belt.
I was explaining to my kids the other day, those apocalypse movies, or the movies like Independence Day, where the aliens come down, and they knock out 90% of humanity, and then there's a small band of humans that come together and fight off the enemy or the zombies or whatever. That's basically how the story goes. And I was trying to explain to them that we're not the group that's going to come back and save everyone. We're the 90% that are going to get killed on the first day. So you don't have to worry about any of that.
We're not the plucky survivors. We're not the plucky survivors.
Yeah.
Let's get T-shirts that say that. Have a T-shirt that says
if this was a movie,
just in case.
If this was a movie, we were the character that they wouldn't even give a name to in the credits because you die in the first 5 minutes.
That's right.
So
third man, David Haynes. We on Star Trek, we would be the red shirt guys.
Yeah.
There's a whole novel about them.
There's a whole what?
I forget his name, but this science fiction author wrote a novel it's called Red Shirts, and it's about all the red shirt guys slowly coming to the realization that they're just cannon fodder. It was pretty good.
Well, there's that animated series called Lower Decks too. That's about all the people down there that you never see in the Star Trek movies. They're the ones that are doing all the work.
Just same idea.
You
Yeah.
know, speaking of articles, somebody wrote an article. I should have looked it up before I started talking about it. But
Nah.
Matt Damon in his movies, it seems like a lot of his characters get caught in places where they have to be saved, and the movie's about how he survives until he gets saved. And somebody wrote an article where they actually took Matt Damon movies and computed how much it has cost to save Matt Damon from his various movie things. And it was like something over $1 billion
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
that the various governments have had to spend to get him out of trouble.
Just imagine if you're the city official that has to add up all the damage that happens during a Marvel Avengers fight.
There actually have
You know?
parts of the movie are about that. Or the beginning of one of the movies was about that, where they talked about how much you guys brought all these crazy lunatics that destroyed half of our city, and if it hadn't been for you, they probably wouldn't have came. And their thing was, if it hadn't been for us, you would have all died, but you would have been rich.
I mean, 6 of one, half a dozen the other.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, so that's 45 minutes. So I think we should cut it at 45 minutes.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Cool. Hey, do me a favor. Next time you're going to be on the radio, send me some sort of text or something so I can listen to it live.
Oh yeah, if anybody wants
And
to listen,
I mean,
I'll be on Thursday and Friday from noon to 5 Eastern time. That's my new shift. Thursdays and Fridays, noon to 5 Eastern time, and it is on WMCT.net. WMCTradio.net. But I'll send you a text too.
All right.
All right, let me
See you next time.
All right, see you next time.